Once again, thank you for joining us. I'm Nancy Kachingira, and our sign language interpreter is William Silla.
Now we go straight to Sharon Momanyu, who is standing by with that police recruitment saga. Is it all about tribe? Sharon, tell us more about this.
Yeah, now you remember yesterday we reported the story of Matthew Rufasi in Bungoma, who was received his recruitment and was successful, but was later turned away on grounds of neither being a Luhya nor a Kikuyu. Now, it was a very shocking story, and we sought to find out that what exactly informed this decision by the police. And today, the National Police Service Commission Chair Johnston Kavuludi said that for this particular case, the man, Matthew Rufasi, he says, was lying about his ethnic background. And why is this important? He also says that the Police Service Commission has a constitutional mandate to ensure ethnic representation from across the country. And I managed to speak to the Secretary of the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, Mr. Hassan Sheikh Mohammed, who says that indeed this is a mandate that the police service has, and that the tricky part that they have is making sure they make this representation fair across all the ethnic backgrounds while not being discriminatory at the same time. Now, this is a report that I put together. What started out as a good day for Matthews Rufasi, who had been admitted as a new police recruit in Bungoma, ended up not so good. Rufasi was later forced to relinquish his admission letter at the Bungoma police station. Reason? He was neither Luhya nor Kikuyu.
Then kufika kwa jina langu, wakaniambia I'm not a Luhya, so I cannot be given a letter. Wale ambao ni minority, Kikuyu ambao tungepewa barua peke yake, lakini sisi ambao si minority hatuwezi pewa barua.
Hiyo nyanga umeona hiyo nyanga.
According to Bungoma Police Commander Charles Munyoli, the directive on the ethnic selection came right from the top. The 12 recruitment slots in the area were reserved for 2 communities.
We were recruiting 12 candidates in Kandui. 10 Luhyas, 2 Kikuyus.
Complaints on ethnic selection were also made in Kajiado.
Kitambulisho yetu inaread hapa. Na wodi yote tumepiga kwa wodi yetu. Na huku tunaambua hiyo majina yajulikani. Kama Yasin Ali amezaliwa Kajiado na ako Oldamat, na inasemekana yeye sio Oldamat kwa sababu yeye sio Masai. Hiyo ni mbaya na tunasikia uchungu.
Kitu ijafanywa kwa njia ya haki. So tunataka kuona kwa sababu si fair.
The National Police Service Commission Chair Johnston Kavuludi today stated that their actions are very deliberate and just.
The slots were for the most dominant groups which are known there, that is the Luhya and the Kikuyu in that constituency. There was no place for a TESO. When Matthews Rufasi registered, he registered as a TESO, but there wasn't a place for a TESO.
Article 246 and Section 4 of the Constitution states that, and I quote, "The composition of the National Police Service shall reflect the regional and ethnic diversity of the people of Kenya." End of quote. Hassan Sheikh Mohammed, a commissioner at the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, states that indeed the Police Commission has the mandate to ensure fair ethnic representation.
The best way to achieve cohesion in the country is to see the face of Kenya in those recruitment. If we have for example, one community was dominating, and there is a possibility because there are people who have a lot of people who are educated, they are populars, they can go everywhere, and they can take all the chances in all the counties.
The question many would then ask, does regional representation necessarily mean tribal representation? What happens to those whose places they call home are not traditionally where their ethnic community reside?
I am not saying that people should be turned away, but what I am saying is that there is that challenge with the police and other organizations face of trying to have diversity, but at the same time they are told not to discriminate.
To ensure fairness and equity, the officers under the Inspector General worked out in detail the configuration that indicates the tribal distribution Because we must agree there are many tribes in this country and they all must partake of any opportunities that arise.
As this year's fast-track recruitment process came to an end, the 10,000 trainees have begun reporting to their training camps. About 4,000 of them reported to the Kenya Police Training College in Kiganjo, Nyeri Wednesday, with others reporting to the Administration Police Training College in Utawala in Nairobi. Sharon Momanyi, KTN.
Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Chairman Mumo Matemu and his deputy Irene Keino now risk being sent home.
Parliament has given President Uhuru Kenyatta the green light to form a tribunal to investigate the two over integrity issues.
Now, the lawmakers unanimously adopted a report by the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, which said a petition seeking the removal of the two commissioners had disclosed sufficient grounds for their removal.
The MPs approved a report by the Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs recommending the removal of embattled Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Chairman Mumo Matemu and his deputy Irene Keino. Trouble for the Anti-Corruption Commission Chairman and his deputy began when the National Assembly mid-last month received a petition seeking their removal. Lawyer Geoffrey Oriaro had petitioned the Speaker seeking removal of the two for alleged incompetence and violation of the Constitution. Oriaro claimed Mumo Matemu had interfered with investigations into the multi-billion shillings Anglo leasing scam. Oriaro accused Irene Keino of allegedly engaging in business with a state corporation through a company associated with her on matters related to subdivision of land title and parking in Nairobi.
I was summoned to appear before the Parliamentary Legal and Justice Committee yesterday, the 31st, 2015, to answer on certain allegations of supposed breach of the Constitution and misconduct.
The Justice and Legal Affairs Committee tabled the report amid heated exchanges among members with claims that the report had been doctored. Members differed on the motion seeking removal of the two.
Received a call at around 11:30 for a meeting. Upon reaching the proposed meeting point, I asked for the agenda of the meeting and was told that Professor Onsongo had agreed to resign. I was also requested to resign and
An amendment by the Ruaraka MP to include the Commission's Chief Executive Officer Halake Wako in the petition was defeated on the floor of the House. The Secretariat and the Commission had been involved in leadership wrangles. Kajwang wanted Wako to be equally kicked out of the Commission's Secretariat. The MPs unanimously voted to adopt the report. President Uhuru Kenyatta will now appoint a tribunal to investigate the two after the President receives a copy of the report from the Speaker. Commissioner Jane Onsongo last month resigned from the Commission after describing it as dysfunctional. Now, KTN Prime.
Well, it has been a very rough ride for the commissioners at the EACC, the chairman and the deputy, and that story brings us to a big question tonight, and we're asking, do you support the removal of the Anti-Corruption Commission chairman and his deputy? Do you support the removal of the Anti-Corruption Commission bosses?
Yes, there have been a lot of issues at Integrity Center, but of course one of the big questions is, will a change of guard actually bring real change to the commission? Let us know what you think, and you can do that by tweeting us at Kachingira, at Wilson_Mburu, at KTN News KE, or do send an SMS 22155. That's the number. Start with the yes or no, so that we'll be able to tell you what a poll result is later on in this bulletin. And as we move on, the U.S. government has frozen the assets of two leaders of the Al-Shabaab terror group over the Garissa attack. Al-Shabaab's leader Ahmed Duriye and Mahad Karate's assets under U.S. jurisdiction have been frozen, and American firms barred from engaging in any transactions with them. The U.S. State Department blacklisted and designated the two as terrorists, as the Director of Public Prosecutions, Keriako Tobiko, appointed 5 prosecutors to aid in investigations into the attack on the Garissa University College.
Ahmed Duriye, who took over the leadership of the Al-Shabaab following the death of Ahmed Abdi Godane in September last year, and Mahad Karate, also known as Abdi Rahim Mohammed Warsame, are both said to have played a key role in Al-Shabaab's intelligence wing, Amniyat. The wing is tasked with executing suicide attacks, assassinations, and provision of logistical support for terror activities. The two have not only been blacklisted by the U.S. government, their assets under U.S. jurisdiction have been frozen and American firms banned from engaging in any business with them. The move comes a day after the interdiction of 9 top security and administration chiefs, among them the Northeastern Regional Coordinator Ernest Munyi, the Garissa County Commissioner Njenga Mihiri, the Garissa AP County Commander Christopher Mudhe, the Garissa County Criminal Investigations Officer Musa Yego, and the Garissa OCPD Benjamin Ngombe. In Garissa, residents have welcomed the move, but some of them have a different school of thought.
They have to consult with the bona fide people of Garissa regarding the matter of security. They must be included, particularly the peace ambassadors, the global veterans. We have got almost 400 or above who are ex-armies, ex-soldiers. They can take over the security of this town.
As investigations into the conduct of the interdicted officers get underway,
I don't take it as a punishment or victimization. My office is open for any investigation.
Musa Yego, who was in charge of Garissa County's Criminal Investigations Department during the Garissa attack that left 148 people dead, maintains he did his best.
What I'm happy that what is happening now will also assist our region to quiet.
5 prosecutors appointed by the Director of Public Prosecutions to assist in investigations into the Garissa attack will work alongside a team set up by the Inspector General of Police. It is the second round of investigations after 2 other investigative teams handed their reports to the Interior Cabinet Secretary Joseph Nkaiseri last week. One of the reports implicated security agencies in Garissa, saying they had been forewarned about an impending attack but did not take the necessary action. Rita Tinina, KTN.
Now, terror suspect was arrested on President Uhuru Kenyatta's property in Gatundu and was immediately arraigned in court by anti-terror police. The middle-aged man is believed to have been assigned to survey the president's home.
The suspect is believed to have been carrying out surveillance in preparation for a terrorist attack. According to the prosecutor, the suspect could not explain what he was doing on the president's property, and with that, the police applied to detain Said for further investigations. The court granted that the suspect remain in police custody for 15 days, in which investigating officers will extract data from his mobile phone. Said is among 8 terror suspects who appeared in court on Wednesday, including 3 detained by the public at Gikomba Market. One of the suspects is accused of conducting radicalization programs for the youth and has allegedly facilitated the disappearance of his son to join the Al-Shabaab militia. Catherine Omwando, KTN.
It is day 2 in Kisumu and the National Devolution Conference is ongoing, and our reporter Sophia Wanuna is on the ground and she's about to tell us exactly how day 2 went. Sophia, just give us a rundown of what we expected today and what happened during the day and exactly what do we expect tomorrow.
Good evening, Wilson. Indeed, day 2 here at the Devolution Conference in Kisumu. So a flurry of activities, and we saw the deputy governors as well hold a press conference, and in it they expressed some of the issues they have, as they have been part of the devolved functions, of course, in the leadership of the counties for the past 2 years. And they're saying now that they will be presenting a bill in the Senate to have their roles defined. They're saying they're tired of playing flower girls, and Aaron Ocheng attended that particular press conference and compiled this report for us.
They are known to be county deputy heads and were seen on campaign posters in the last general election as governors' running mates. Most of them were strategically picked in order to consolidate votes to win the elections. It is now emerging that majority of them do not enjoy cordial relation with their governors.
You find the deputy governor does not even have the goodwill of the governor to do ABCD. So we've been discussing that, and we've given our issues to the Senate. We have 2 bills currently in the Senate discussing the same issues on how best we can utilize the office of the deputy governor. It is not about the deputy governors who are here. These are the pioneers. We know there are other deputy governors who will be coming in 2017.
The second devolution conference underway here in Kisumu saw deputy governors come out with issues that had never been addressed before.
Or that the whole of the deputies were ignored in this conference that we are having right here, that we do not have any space. There's nothing. The senators, the MCAs, all the members of the county devolution have been involved in this conference as panelists, moderators, but the deputy governors have clearly been sidelined and ignored in the whole conference.
Us as deputy governors, we are going to push for this year, and we hope by next year we'll have clearly stipulated roles in law for the deputy governors of this country.
They are now saying that they will sponsor a bill through a member of the Senate to have roles of deputy governors clearly defined. Day 2 of the conference also saw panelists discuss inter-county relations as well as how county governments relate with the donor community. The Deputy President William Ruto is expected to close the conference tomorrow. Aaron Ochieng, KTN, Kisumu.
Thank you, Aaron, for that report. And I'll shortly be speaking with the deputy governors from Kisumu and Kisii counties to just expound more on their concerns as well as their proposals. But before we go to that, let's talk about another story, again touching on county governments. And we've seen a number of them with the drama incidents. And not too far from here, the Tomboya Labour College at the Kisumu County Assembly, there was some drama there today when the Deputy Speaker was forced to make entry into her office. Victor Ogale captured the scenes there for us.
Not recognize me at all. He will not come.
Security officers at the Kisumu County Assembly premises had a rough time when Deputy Speaker Pamela Josie arrived at her office only to find it locked. Her tough words finally saw her access the building. Moments later, the clerk of the assembly, Owen Ojok, arrived and even tried to block journalists from covering the saga, ordering the security to close the entire office. Armed with a pair of loppers, she managed to break the padlock, gaining access to her office. According to Pamela, the office locking drama has been going on for a while now, despite the fact that the decision to have her as the acting speaker was reached upon by the entire assembly.
Today in the morning I came again. I got that office has been locked and the administrator is not nowhere to be seen. So I decided to use this again as my key to open this door. I've opened this door.
This latest incident comes barely a week after co-leader Raila Odinga met the Kisumu County Assembly members, the executive and the governor to mediate over wrangles that have been the order of the day. Pamela accuses the sergeant at arms Hesbon Okello and the clerk of the assembly for being behind the office locking saga.
I have my key with me. I know I'll break it again. I'll break the padlock. I'll break it even 10 times.
Pamela assumed the speaker's position after the impeachment of Anne Adulu petitioned the decision of the assembly following her ouster late last year.
It's very much difficult. I really struggled for almost an hour to put off this.
Victor Ogale, KTN, in the county of Kisumu.
All right, and joining me now is Josh Mangi. He's the Deputy Governor of Kisii County, as well as Ruth Odinga. She's the Deputy Governor of the host county of this devolution conference, Kisumu. We thank you both for being with us. Before we get to your concerns on your roles and that being put in law, let's talk a little about the wrangles that we've been seeing in the county assembly here in Kisumu, and concerning because this has been going on for a while. Now we're seeing what happened today at the county assembly. What really is the issue here in Kisumu with the leadership?
Good evening, everybody. At the Kisumu Assembly, we have had a problem with the Speaker of this Assembly, which is a matter that went to court. And after going to court, there was a ruling that the judgment will be done later in the year. But meanwhile, before that was done, the court ruled that the panel of speakers, together with the Deputy Speaker, should run the Assembly until that time. However, unfortunately, the members of Assembly decided to choose an acting speaker, which is not in the law, who is therefore the one that they wanted to run the county and ignore the panel of speakers and the deputy speaker. And therefore, this has brought in a case where you see a lady in Roth, where the office was closed for her to go in, and she decided to go in. Actually, she's lawfully the one who's supposed to be the
So
deputy
it's in breach
speaker.
of law that all of these other activities are happening?
Yes, it's in breach of law.
All right, let's move on to the concerns of the deputy governors. And let's begin with you again, because yesterday, the official opening, the president was here, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga was here as well, and we saw the governor recognize all of the other officials in this particular county and missed out your name completely, and a lot of people were upset with that, yourself as well. How did that happen?
I'd like to think that probably it was an oversight on behalf of the governor, and I would like to apologize to myself on his behalf, but he has actually apologized on that. But I'd like to say that the issues that bedevil us as the deputy governors is much more than actually having your name on a list. And I don't think I would like to dwell so much on that as to the point that what is our role as deputy governors in this whole devolution. Here we are with a conference where everybody else has been in the program, from the senators, from the national government officials, the commissioners, to the MCAs, have been slotted into the conference. And the only people that was conspicuously missing in this conference
is the deputy
governors without any role.
So let me come to you, Mangi. So you feel like flower girls, that from the services at the county level, you only wait for assignments from the governors. Unless there's delegation of any functions, then you're idle, your flower girls just sitting pretty.
Thank you. So yeah, you see, the role of a deputy governor, as it is now, is to be the principal deputy to the governor. It further goes to say that the governor may assign the deputy governor roles as he may wish. That absolutely puts you at the mercy of the governor. Some governors, like my governor, have found a way of working very well with the deputy governors, and they give them work, they assign them.
Right.
But some other governors, like the governor of Machakos, for example, they don't see eye to eye with the deputy governor of Machakos.
Yeah.
It's because of these differences that we have sought, actually the bill is already in the Senate. We are seeking a bill that will anchor the role of deputy governors in law, so that we know that this is exactly what the deputy governor is supposed to do, and they don't serve at the mercy of the government.
But it's not the first time we are seeing this. This is practice we've seen elsewhere, where deputy governors or deputies will simply, as you said, deputize the chief. So some would argue it's pretentious now for deputy governors to come and say they want this in law, and yet going into the election in 2013, you knew it was not defined. So why now turn around and say you want it defined? And you knew already that there were no defined roles. What do you think, Ruth?
There must be some defined roles to deputize, whether you're deputizing in a school or anything. And basically, in normal cases where the governor is the one in charge of policies and policy making, the deputy is in charge of making sure that the policies and all the visions of the county is delivered, and that they're in charge of the delivery and making sure that delivery of services, and also in the administration, coordinating the cabinet and coordinating, so that making sure that all the policies are actually implemented. And that is something that can be done. But with us, the situation which I think is really volatile is that most of the governors are not willing to give that delegation to the deputy governors.
She's talking about it again, and what is it you're pushing for it to be entrenched in law. Again, people will find that difficult, because you going into that election, and your argument is, why is it they carry all the rules and yet you are on the ticket together? So in essence, you brought part of the vote into the election. But again, you knew beforehand that there were no defined roles. So isn't it this an issue of just ensuring their good working relations, that you as a deputy governor, when things are not working right, can come and say, by the way, I have this clout, so you need to ensure we do not disenfranchise or antagonize my base, as we've seen happen even in national politics?
Yes, that's correct. But then, you see, we are not doing this for ourselves alone. We are doing this for posterity. Yes, we came in 2013 knowing that our roles were not clearly defined. But now we have realized that some governors can misuse the fact that the deputy governors serve at their pleasure and totally ignore them. So what we are saying is that now that we know this, what will happen to the future deputy governors? We want to do this for posterity. We want to make sure that this institution of deputy governors is properly respected and utilized.
So for now, then, taxpayers' money is being wasted. What about those who then would watch this and say, if they don't have roles defined yet, how about you scrap the position of deputy governor? What do you say? Briefly.
I would like to clarify something. We are not vice governors, neither are we assistant governors. We are actually deputy governors. We're supposed to deputize our governor, especially in the case that he's out. We act on his behalf when he's away.
So in the event your proposals in law do not happen, would you then be for the suggestion that you scrap the position of deputy governor?
That would not be for me to answer. It would be for the people the Kenyan people who actually are the ones who make the constitution. Not for an individual like myself to say that it should be scrapped. As far as I know, every chief has a deputy, but the deputy is somebody who works with you hand in hand, who can advise you on what needs to be done, and when you're not there, is able to actually step in your shoes and continue, and so there's continuity within the services that are offered to that county.
Mangi, your final thoughts as well, because there are those who will say if there are no functions, this is not working, scrap the position, let's save taxpayers some money and let things move on.
See, we are not saying that deputy governors do nothing. We are saying that we want to make sure that those deputy governors who have problems with their governors, they should be safeguarded. As we speak right now, as I gave myself as an example, I do a lot of work in this county. I work very well with my governor. But then, the example of Machakos County, where the deputy governor don't see eye to eye with the governor, then ideally, we need to find a way of protecting him. We need to find a way of protecting the institution of deputy governors so that they actually work, because they were elected with the governor, and they cannot be left at the mercy of the government.
All right.
Let them have divine role. At the moment, we do a lot of work. We do operations. We do coordination.
Right.
But then we want this to be anchored in law.
Anchored in law. And those are your thoughts. We thank you very much for joining us. Unfortunately, our time is up. Josh Mangi, Deputy Governor, Kisii County, as well as Ruth Odinga, who's the Deputy Governor, Kisumu County. Thank you both. And we wish you the best. We'll definitely be watching this particular story. And that's it from us here in Kisumu at the Tomboya Labour College. Day 3 is tomorrow. Our stay here will continue. In fact, canvassing the issues that are being raised around devolution 2 years on. Back to you, Wilson and Nancy.
Thank you very much, Sophia. And a very interesting discussion there about the roles of deputy governors. And the question that really came to my mind is, who really knows their deputy governor? You know, it's a very interesting discussion.
It certainly is, and I think it was really interesting to watch that interview that Sophia just had.
What exactly do they do?
I guess that's something we'll find out as we go along. But let's remind you right now of our big Q. So tonight, we want to find out from you whether you actually think that the removal of the Anti-Corruption Commission chairman and his deputy was the right thing to do. I'm going to read a tweet here. This one comes from Paul Mwani. And you say, sorry, no, this is not Paul Mwani. This is Smart Mwangi. You say, yes, they have just done a few shoddy investigations and brought shame to Kenyans, so they need to go.
Let's see what we have here. Abdi Hakim Alibiso. Abdi Hakim says the current EACC bosses had politicized the independent institution and shaped it like a political party. Continue sending in your views at Wilson_Mburu, at Kachungira. Those are our Twitter handles, and 22155 is the SMS number. Start with a yes or no so that we are able to compile that into a poll result at the end of the bulletin.
You're watching KTN Prime. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to KTN Prime. Now let's continue to focus on the successes and the challenges of devolution. KTN's Carol Nderi now brings us the story of Nyeri County 2 years after devolution. Take a look.
Nyeri, a county with 6 constituencies, is the former administrative unit of what was formerly the Central Province. In view of that, there have been unique aspects relating to the new system of governance through devolution as entrenched in the new constitution. Devolution, as perceived by many, has in the last 2 years enabled the local mwananchi to access services in a faster, if not easier mode than before. As an agriculturally rich zone, the economy of the region is primarily related to the prosperity of agriculture here. Value addition has become synonymous with Nyeri County government's rallying call.
Basically, we're trying to create an environment whereby our high-quality coffee here in Nyeri County is selling for the highest price possible.
While the coffee sector has had its ups and downs since Governor Nderitu Gachagua introduced the direct marketing of coffee to interested buyers, Chief of Staff Simon Wachira says this method has boosted Nyeri's economy.
We were able to inject over 2 billion shillings to the economy of Nyeri as a result of the sale of coffee last year.
Still on agriculture, coffee and tea are the economic mainstays of the residents of this county that has 2 of Kenya's 5 water towers, the Aberdare Ranges and Mount Kenya. Already a factory such as Iriaine Tea Factory works in conjunction with United Kingdom's chain store Marks and Spencer.
Currently, all the tea being sold in Kenya and in Nyeri is bulk tea, and that is why when the prices fall, farmers are not being fenced against global issues that have nothing to do with Kenyan farmers.
The Minister for Infrastructure in the Nyeri County government, John Maina, says so far 700 kilometers of road have been constructed and or upgraded. Equipment for this purpose was purchased last year so as to reduce the cost to less than $1 million for a kilometer, down from about 1.8 million shillings per kilometer.
It is helping farmers when these areas are opened up, they are no longer marginalized. They can literally either dispose or have collateral of their land with better returns.
Some of the significant projects that the Nyeri County government have undertaken include the recent construction and launch of the renal unit at the Nyeri County Referral Hospital. Patients do not have to travel to Nairobi to seek dialysis services at Kenyatta National Hospital. The inhibitive cost of about 8,000 shillings per session was too costly for most, and the new renal unit in Nyeri now offers similar dialysis services for just 3,000 if one is under NHIF.
Tunahudumia si watu ya Nyeri peke yake. Ile kaunti zingine ambazo siko karibu nazi hapa.
Nyeri has been criticized for being a sleepy town, especially in light of the fact that it was the headquarters of Central Province and as such should be a buzz of activity even late into the night.
This has changed in Nyeri. Right now we have started experiencing a traffic jam in town.
The county has also stepped up the fight against substance and alcohol abuse.
The campaign was rolled out at Chaka.
Devolution, not just in this county but across the border, has been faced with its fair share of challenges.
There are so many laws that are supposed to anchor devolution are not yet made by the Senate and by the National Assembly. Similarly, Nyeri absorbed a bloated workforce.
We're bringing in a team to do a proper audit that will give us the optimal levels and what we need, so that the difference with the 3,100, maybe we may require 1,500. The difference is what we require the national government either to finance in terms of the salaries, or they take them back. We don't need, because we don't need them. So those are the options that we want to give, so that we can have now enough money to put into our development budget.
While the gains of devolution can be said to have brought the services closer to the people as opposed to the previous system of governance, the leaders said that there is some confusion regarding what roles belong to the county government and which ones should belong to the national government. And while they have been clearly outlined in the new constitution, the leaders said that this needs to be smoothened out for clear running and smooth operations. Carol Derry, KTN, Nyeri County.
A very good evening and welcome to KTN Business. I'm Abi Agina. Let's now take a look at what stories have been making headlines. Despite the limitless potential in the country's insurance sector, the penetration levels have stagnated at just 3% of GDP for the last 10 years. But winds of change are now blowing the way of the sector as banks move in to unlock the sector's greater potential. But just what will this partnership mean for the sector and the economy? KTN's Adelaide Chongole tells us more.
The country's financial services sector has been on an upward trajectory, far outstripping the country's economic growth rate. However, the insurance sector has remained stagnant, contributing just 3% of GDP for the last 10 years. But Kenya's changing economic profile is bringing with it good tidings for the sector.
We can pride ourselves of being number 4 in Africa.
This growth has made the country a hotbed of activity as players jostle for a piece of the growing pie. And now even banks are joining the fray, rolling out bancassurance services as they seek a foothold in the bounding sector. Among them is KCB, which has unveiled the KCB Insurance Agency that it hopes will not only deepen the insurance sector, it will also bring in more business for both the bankers and players in the insurance sector.
Bigger picture is that we will bring in more customers, increase the level of the sector, increase the revenue levels, provide more services in the industry.
However, the entrance of the banking sector into insurance has been received with some misgiving, with some insurance players saying it poses a threat to the survival of the sector. But the insurance regulator has dismissed this argument.
The distribution network that we enjoy as KCB is lacking in a lot of partners that we are working with in the insurance industry. And therefore, we need to be that partner that is able to harness insurance business across the corners of this country where the other players have not been able to reach.
Instead, he says the banks can utilize the already established agency networks to enhance the penetration of insurance in the country, which will be beneficial to both the banks and insurance providers.
With only 5,000 insurance agents in this market, the market today is at about over 130 billion Kenya shilling. So if we are able to bring on board all the Mutaani agents, then I think there is a huge future ahead of us.
The new KCB Insurance Agency will be working with established insurance companies to offer 7 different varieties of insurance, including property, liability, motor, healthcare, agriculture, micro and marine insurance. The agency will also offer risk management and insurance advisory services to its clients. Adelaide Chongole, KTN Business.
Many thanks there, Adelaide. And indeed, as economists would say, 3% of GDP is quite a small figure, and we do hope that the insurance industry will keep growing as the players continue to anticipate. Moving on, coffee company Dormans is in the process of moving its global operations to Tatu City. Speaking during the commissioning today, the firm's chairman confirmed that the coffee house has acquired 10 acres of land that will host its operational headquarters and accommodate more than 200 employees from next year. KTN's Joy Doreen Bira has more.
Aligned with Nairobi Metro's Vision 2030 strategy, underlying Tatu City's design is a visionary concept aimed to shift urban development in Kenya from the familiar single-node model to a decentralized urban environment. With an aim to significantly decongest the city of Nairobi by offering a unique live, work and play environment for an estimated 70,000 residents.
We sold 90% of commercial land last year, and some of those sites are very big.
And by the year 2016, Tatu, Kenya's first privately managed city, will serve as host to headquarters of Dormans Coffee, one of the biggest coffee houses in Africa. Commissioned today, Dormans Coffee will be one of the anchoring projects that Tatu City is looking at to attract more investors.
We want somewhere where all of our management and staff can be happy and proud to live and work in.
We've been in negotiations with them for about a year, so it's a reasonably large deal.
This space right here is where Dormans is set to move its global operations, which is about 40,000 square kilometers, the equivalent of 10-acre piece of land.
Dormans will spend up to $7 million to set up what will be its operation headquarters, targeted to produce more than 15 tons of coffee. This will in turn provide job opportunities to over 200 Kenyans. The news comes as property developers and government seek measures to reduce the crowding of Nairobi by encouraging corporate investors to set up their property and business ownership outside Central Business District. Joy Doreen Bira, KTN Business.
They say necessity is the mother of all invention, and with the booming real estate sector and a fast-rising middle class, specialization has become the rule of the game. On this week's Adventurer, KTN's Charles Gitonga speaks to an entrepreneur who makes 100 million shillings a year by providing roofing solutions. Take a look.
A roof is definitely one of the most important components of a house, and most home buyers today are not going for just any kind of a roof. They want an exotic one. Our adventurer today is Irene Wanjiko, the founder of Rexy Roofings, whose business is to provide the roof of choice over your head.
Rexy Roofing Products is a company that was incorporated in November of 2011 with the aim of helping contractors, homeowners and developers get the right roofing products for their project that could last up to the lifetime of their project. I was working in a construction industry, and while there, a lot of clients would come and talk to you and tell you, I have this project like I said before, and how can I get it the best roof? I've seen this kind of a roof, but I don't know whether it's available here. I've seen this type, but it's too expensive. So could you help me come up with the best? How can you help me with this? And you know that an income is solving a problem that is existing. And so we had to solve that problem to get some income. When we started, we had just mostly private clients. And then now we have residential, big projects, commercial. Like this is one of our biggest commercial projects, the Hub, Karen Shopping Mall, which is set to open on 1st of September. We have also worked on Mount Kenya Holiday Homes, Mount Kenya Wildlife Estate. We are Embassy of Belgium. They are one of our clients. Telecom Kenya, we are now one of their suppliers. So we have now grown to get both commercial as well as residential and private projects.
Where do you get the raw materials from, and maybe you could explain the kind of roofing technology this one is?
Currently our products are from Belgium. We are getting them from a company in Belgium. This year are called the Cambridge Express line of shingles. They have a 3D look. When you look at them, they are made to resemble the traditional wood shingles. But now because they don't last as long, they've been replaced by the Cambridge shingles, which is why I said we have the latest technology in the roofing industry. And they are made from fiberglass and natural ceramic granules on top. Currently, the real estate is foreseen to keep growing, maybe even 3 times of where it is at right now, and the projection is foreseen to go for the next 10 years if I checked on the last reports to do with the construction. And this is very good for us because we can only put up our roof. We are, as the roofing specialists, we only put our roof up on the buildings. So as long as this real estate continues to grow, and so this is foreseen to make better business for us, increase the people that we are engaging, which creates employment. The money we needed to set up and for the consignment, that our first consignment that we needed was about Kenya shillings 7 million. But out of that, we had like 2 million Kenya shillings. So the rest came in from the client's deposits. They would trust us with their project and then would deliver, and they were very happy with that. Now we are at a turnover of about the last audited accounts, which we are still working on. We'll say we are at a turnover of about 100 million, which for me is very exciting because this is from a turnover of maybe 5 million, and now we are talking about 100 million. The main challenges, I would say, one, being a newcomer in the industry that already had other suppliers, you find that in Africa we have maybe what I would call a scarcity mentality, and the person thinks that if you get business, that should have been their business. So we face a lot of ruthless competitors who would want to spread propaganda about our products, say they are organic shingles and all these kind of things. But we are happy because the clients still give us an opportunity. which is why we are still here today. The second one, of course, to do with the shipping. You cannot really tell when a particular consignment will get here because you get the expected time of arrivals of shipment, which is why we are looking at how can we make the product here for Kenya by Kenya.
Irene saw an opportunity and went for it. The best way to predict the future is to build it. Charles Gitonga for The Adventurer.
Many thanks there, Charles. Indeed, 7 contracts monthly, 100 million shillings as turnover. Wow, quite impressive. Well, that's all we had time for on KTN Business. I leave you now with the financial report. My name is Abia Gina. Let's do this same time, same place. Have a good night.
A very good evening and welcome to today's edition of KTN Sports. My name is Moses Wahisi. Today we start on a hockey gear where Telkom Orange began their Vaisakhi hockey tournament title defense on a positive note as they thrashed Simbarets and thus the national junior team at 10-0 at the Nairobi City Park. In another encounter, former champions Kenya Police fended off a resilient Strathmore University to win their opening match.
Orange Telkom continued to underline their dominance in Kenyan hockey as the Vaisakhi hockey tournament bullied off at the Kenya Hockey Union Stadium in Parklands. The Orange ladies were quick off their paces as Jacqueline Mulandi sounded the boards in the 3rd minute. 7 minutes later, the veteran increased the tally before adding 2 more goals in the 12th and 28th minutes respectively. The Orange ladies continued to heap more misery on the youngsters as Helen Chemutai sounded the boards twice before the breather. In the second half, Joseph Penda's side spared no attempt at teaching the youngsters hockey lessons as veteran Chemutai and Jacqueline Mulangi combined to score 4 goals, giving Orange a 10-0 victory. Despite losing today's tie, Simbarets admitted they have learned valuable lessons.
It was a good show, despite the results. But again, playing against the continental champions, against the under-16s, it's a big plus for the guys. I think we try to play to a certain structure.
We're just working on what we learned overseas for the national team, trying to incorporate it here, and just trying to move the ball and being more creative than we've been.
In another encounter of the day, Kenya Hockey League defending champions Kenya Police got off to a winning start as they emerged victorious over Strathmore University. Despite going into the break with a 2-all scoreline, Police proved their prowess as they scored in the second half to win the tie 3-2. Robinson Okenye, KTN Sports.
Thank you, Robinson, for that piece. The national women's volleyball team defeated Ethiopia in 3 straight sets to register their 2nd win in the ongoing African Zone 5 qualifiers games in Kampala, Uganda. The national oil-sponsored Queens picked up from where they left yesterday and where they demolished Egypt 3-1 last evening. Kenya started slowly in the opening set but won it 25-19. Ethiopia lost steam in the 2nd set as they lost 17-25 to a charged Kenyan side. The home side then took the last set 25-17. To matters of the track, it has been the norm that once again the London Marathon organizers have put together an undisputed star-studded lineup for the 2015 edition. Emmanuel Mutai, the 2011 champion, is among the runners hoping to rise above the rest of the stars, who include the reigning world marathon record holder Dennis Kimeto, as well as a former record holder Wilson Kipsang. Lynn Washira reports.
2011 London Marathon champion Emmanuel Mutai joins a group of over 25 athletes for morning workout in Naiberi, Kaptagat. The group sticks together for about 25 kilometers when slowly the wheat is separated from the chaff. It doesn't take long for Mutai to take charge of the training group. At the end of a 42 kilometers run, Mutai's London Marathon assault is 1 training session less.
Me, I felt good today because maybe the last 3 weeks ago, the body has not been responded the way I was expecting, but today I feel.
London Marathon is special to Mutai in more than one way. It's the course that taught him resilience, the very crucial recipe for any marathoner. The British capital gifted him his first World Marathon major win and a course record on his third appearance.
The course is okay because I've been running there. I know all aspects of the course, but you know, that is what I'm saying. Sometimes when the body responds well, you feel good, but sometimes when you don't feel good, that is the difficult part.
Well, in 2012, you went to the London Marathon as the defending champion and also the course record holder, but this time you'll be going to the London Marathon as the second best marathoner of all time. Do you feel under pressure?
When I'm preparing for the competition, so I don't want to put myself in pressure, because I know if you put yourself on pressure, so you will not perform. Because I know what I've been doing in the training, that will make me perform what I know.
Mutai has in the past lost to Wilson Kipsang, Dennis Kimeto and Geoffrey Mutai, all who have been drafted into the elite field lineup. Throw in Chicago Marathon champion Eliud Kipchoge, Sami Kitwara and Stanley Biwott. Can competition in any marathon get better than this?
When the field is so strong, I know that everybody has that fear that maybe this guy is so stronger than me.
A world record time may be far-fetched, but it's difficult not to term the 2015 London elite field as the greatest ever assembled. Lynn Washira, KTN.
Well, time to wind up the bulletin, but let's remind you of our big question tonight so that we can take up all results. We did ask you whether you support the removal of the Anti-Corruption Commission bosses, and it's almost split down the middle, this one, Nancy.
It's a very close one. 49% say yes, they do, and 51% say no. Thank you for your comments. Stephen Buku says, yes, I do. They have been there for a while with no results, just drama, finger-pointing, and witch hunts.
Lois Kerubo here says, no, I doubt if it will solve anything at all because the whole commission is flawed.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your opinions with us this evening and for watching KTN Prime. William Silla is our sign language interpreter tonight. And speaking of sign language interpreters, someone just tweeted that we might need two for Jeff Koinange live tonight. Because guess who's on the bench? PLO Lumumba.
you get your dictionary, your thesaurus, and
a notepad,
reliable internet connection.
Well, thank you so much for watching. I'm Nancy Kachingira. Have a good night.
JKL is up next. My name is Wilson Buru. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. Good night. That's me.